All right, you guys, so welcome. We are starting a new unit, and in order to successfully navigate this unit and some of the remaining units in Math 3, we've got to do some review with factoring. All right, so I am new to URI Charter, so I do not know how you were previously taught to factor. So I'm treating this as a review. So I'm going to review it. I'm going to review it the way that I teach it to Math 1 students and Math 2 students who I've had for the first time. If you have a alternate approach, you are welcome to use that. If you've never liked the approach that you've been taught and you would like to use my approach, you are welcome to do so as well. Okay. So yes, if you have a different way of factoring because your teacher taught you a different method, because there's lots of methods out there, please continue on with that method. Okay. All right. So I am looking at my first set of quadratic equations. So what makes it a quadratic is it has an x squared in it. Okay. The highest exponent is a 2, which tells me that the polynomial that I'm looking at is a quadratic. Okay. So I need to factor it. Okay. When it starts with a 1x squared, okay, I immediately go to 36. And for this problem, I'll write down, okay, the things that I'm looking at to come up with my next step. So I need to figure out all the multiplication problems for 36 because I have one in mind. So I've got 1 times 36, 2 times 18, 3 times 12, 4 times 9, 6 times 6. Okay, so those are all the multiplication problems for 36. And then what I need, okay, is I need these to add up or subtract, depending on what I'm doing, to negative 12. Okay, well, that's really easy because if I make both of my 6's negative, okay, because a negative times a negative is still a positive, when I add negative 6 and to negative 6, I will get negative 12. Okay, so now I have to write this statement as a multiplication problem because that's what factoring is. They want you to write it as a multiplication problem. Think about what 36 is. The factors of 36 are 1 and 36, and when I multiply them, I get 36. So what do I multiply to get this statement? Well, I'm going to multiply x minus 6 times x minus 6. And if you remember from your previous classes, when it's a repeat, we write it in exponent form. Okay, so x minus 6 squared. So if I type that in, submit my answer. Okay, there we go. Okay, and he does use an X puzzle, okay, which I was getting to in my next example. Okay, all right, new problem. Okay, so I have x squared plus x minus 56. Okay, so yeah, this is where the X puzzle comes in because I don't want to do this every time. Okay, I want to just focus on what can I do. So what goes where in my X puzzle? The last term goes here, negative 56, and then below it goes the term in the middle. Well, that's an understood 1. Okay. All right, so now I have to solve that X puzzle, okay? And for some of you, that's the hardest part of the whole thing is figuring out those pesky multiplication problems, okay? I would highly recommend going onto Google and getting a multiplication table if that's what's going to help you, okay? Because you're going to be like, "Oh my gosh, I just don't know." All right, well, it's 8 and 7, okay? But I got to get my positives and my negatives correct, okay? 8 times 7 is going to give me 1, okay? And I'll get 1 if negative 7 is the problem. Because 8 times negative 7 equals negative 56, and 8 minus 7, or 8 plus negative 7, will give me positive 1. So x plus 8, I use 8 here, and x minus 7. I use the minus 7 from here. Okay, and there's my answer. So parentheses, go over here to delta math. So parentheses, x minus, or x plus 8. Actually, let me show you. You can write x minus 7 first, okay, in delta math, and then x plus 8. Okay, you can reverse the parentheses and write x minus 7 first and then x plus 8. Submit my answer. Yes. Okay. All right. So that's how these problems are all going to work. I could do 10 of these. I could do 100 of these. Okay. The most important part is this X puzzle. Okay. All right. So I'll come back in another equation. These problems are going to get a little bit harder.